So part 2 of my talent scouting report of English qualified players from the Premiership. Have a look at part 1 for a bit more of an explanation. I'm going to go through the other 5 teams in the Premiership, putting them in 3 tiers. Tier 1 players who can go straight into that England side, no problems. Tier 2, very close, maybe a couple of reservations. And Tier 3, watch this space. Let's get straight into Leicester Tigers. Not the best in the league. They do, however, have that star signing of double World Cup winning Andre Pollard. He played a big part in their good win against the Stormers in the first round of the Champions Cup. Tier 1, I see 4 guys there. The 2 second rows, Ollie Chesham, George Martin, already getting some good experience for England. They will get better and better. Chesham maybe more of an athlete. Martin a bit more physical. Also watch out for Lewis Chesham coming up. Ollie Chesham's brother. Freddie Stewart, we know what he does well. Amazing high ball game. Good in the wet. Hits the line hard. Not the quickest on the turn. We know that. But what he does well is amazing. So with all his experience as well, he stays tier 1. Anthony Watson, he's injured. But if he gets himself back fit at his best, he's easily tier 1. But we'll see how that goes with his injury. Into tier 2. Charlie Atkinson is a guy for the future. He's going to really struggle to get in the big games ahead of Andre Pollard. Well, basically, he's not. But he looks like he's got the all-round game. A really good young 10. Maybe in a couple of years we'll see him breaking through. So keep an eye on him. Ollie Hassel-Collins got his start in the Six Nations. Didn't really get the ball. Give him the ball. Let's see what he can do. He does score a lot of tries. Is he absolutely quick enough? A lot of people say maybe not quite. But I think you do a great job as an international winger. Maybe he deserves another chance. Joe Hayes has had a chance in the England shirt and maybe not shine, but he is getting better. I've seen signs of him this year being a lot stronger, definitely more reliable, I'd say, in the scrum. He looks like he's making a lot more big carries, big tackles as well. So Joe Hayes could well be back in there as a tight head because England need to find those future tight heads. And Dan Kelly's a guy I've talked about a lot. Maybe it's his size, his power might just hold him back a bit as an international 12, but he's got the game, he knows how to play rugby, great passing him as well. He'd do a great job at 12. Is he quite big enough? That is the question. And on to tier 3, if you want to stay with the veterans like Marler, Cole could do a good job as well. We saw it in the World Cup. He will scrummage really well. Won't give you a lot around the park, but he's still there if you need him. Jackman Portfleet is injured, got that nasty injury in the World Cup. Hopefully he can come back from that. There's so many other scrum halves around though. He might have to start again getting back into that England team, but watch this space for him. And again, a veteran, if you need to go back to him, Ben Youngs, has been there, done that. He'd do a good job. I don't think you need to because there's so many other scrum halves there, but he's a tier 3 talent for me. Now the Newcastle Falcons list looks pretty short because I think it is. Are there some other guys who should be on there? Please let me know if I've been too harsh, but they are bottom of the Premiership for a reason. These are the 3 that caught my eye. Tier 1, on potential and performance early in the season, is Guy Pepper. Unfortunately, injured. Another open side. England have a lot of open side options coming through as well. He's one to watch. Maybe right now he's going to find it very tough to get into the side because there's so many players in England who can play open side, but maybe in a couple of years he could be there. What he's got over some of the others is his height as well. He could use him well in the line out, but I can see him right in their England shirt in a couple of years. So potential tier 1. Tier 2, Jamie Blamire, the hooker, probably the most athletic hooker of all the options. That taller, rangier hooker than some of the others. He's definite talent, could do a good job. We'll see if he makes it into that England squad. It's going to be tight. And Adam Radwan, the speed man, is just amazing with the ball in hand. Is he a bit suspect in other areas? Yeah, I think so. He's a little bit smaller. Sometimes he'll get caught out defensively, miss a few tackles. But if you want a guy to cause havoc in the defences, he's probably the quickest guy along with Henry Arundel that we've got. I've been loving watching Northampton Saints. They've been playing so well this season. A big win for them as well in the Champions Cup away to Glasgow, and they're full of exciting England prospects. And even when Courtney Laws, he's retired from international rugby, there's still loads of England prospects there. Let's get stuck into it, and I think some of these guys we could see in this Six Nations side. And tier 1, Tommy Freeman has made that move to 13. We know he can play wing and fullback. He's there at 13. I think it's a great spot for him alongside Will Joseph. Those are the 2 guys I think who are going to be England's 13s going forward. He's big, he's strong, he's quick, he's skillful. I don't see a weakness in his game. As an international 13, him and Will Joseph, I think, could be fantastic. Even, dare I say the word, world class. Lewis Ludlam, he's not available next season for England. He's moving to Toulon next season. But if you want to get him in now to do a big job at 6, he absolutely would. Never lets England down. Always a 7 out of 10 or more. Alex Mitchell is the incumbent scrum half for England, even though he wasn't in the squad for the World Cup to start with, which was crazy. Is he going to keep hold of it? Well, I think he'll probably get the start, but there's a lot of talent chasing him down. Not perfect, but very quick, very nippy, looks more confident now. Tom Pearson, you know I absolutely love Tom Pearson. So physical, an absolute beast. I think he could play 6, 7 or 8 indeed, probably best at 7. But yeah, absolutely love this guy. Rampaging over the ball, tackling, carrying, quick. Love this guy. I think he should be a starting England player at some point in the future, but so much competition. 2 more tier 1 guys for Northampton. Finn Smith coming into his own. Starting for Northampton, controlling the game, not the most physical fly half, but he's got the all-round game. If you want someone to control the game, a bit like George Ford maybe, he is your man coming through. I'm actually putting George Hendy up at tier 1. Yes, he's got great potential, but also been performing so well, and he's got a more of an all-round game, I think, than Freddie Stewart. He's got the height, he's got the kicking game, he's quicker than Freddie Stewart, maybe not quite as big, but I think as an all-rounder, he could actually take it one day. We'll see. I don't think he'll do it in this Six Nations. Would be an outside shot to get in that squad, but watch this space for Hendy, and on potential, I'm putting him up to tier 1. Tier 2, Alex Coles. We saw him a bit at 6 under Eddie Jones, which I think was a mistake. A big second row is his place. He could absolutely be in that England squad. There's spots up for grabs in the second row. Trevor Davison, I think, could do a great job at tight head. He's a really good scrummager. And one for the future, not now, but another amazing 7. Henry Pollock is coming through. Maybe 2 or 3 years' time, maybe just in time for the World Cup if England need him. He's an England player of the future, definitely for the next cycle, but watch this space. He will get some more starts at some point for Northampton. And tier 3, Fraser Dingwall would do a great job in the midfield. He does literally nothing wrong, possibly not quite powerful enough to be an international centre, but he'd be a great job if you chucked him straight in there and said, you are the man. He wouldn't let you down. George Furbank, he got started for England under Eddie Jones, had a terrible debut which didn't help him. Got a bit of a bad reputation, but this year's been playing his best stuff, looks very composed, looks really good at 10 actually, probably better at 10 than 15 maybe, so he's still there if you need an all-rounder. Tom Litchfield's one again for the future, big centre, watch this space for him. I don't think he'll be pressing for that England squad just yet. Chunamunga as well, a second row who's been in and out of the England squad occasionally. A lot of potential. We'll see if he makes that breakthrough, so I'm on the fence for him. And Ollie Slightholme doesn't really have a weakness in his game, a little bit smaller winger, a lot of competition. It would take an England coach to really put some faith in him and say, you are our man. But again, like Fraser Dingwall, wouldn't let you down. So much talent coming through for England from Northampton. On to the last 2 clubs, and Sale Sharks have been on fire this season, on top of the Premiership, plus a confident win versus Stanford Say in the Champions Cup. They've been playing some great stuff, a really good mix in their team, being put around the park by George Ford, of course, at 10. Tier 1 talent alongside Ford. Tom Curry is obviously tier 1, but he's injured and he's out for the season, but still, he is tier 1. Manu Tuolangi, I think he stays tier 1 from what he's done in the past. He's just come back from injury and had a big game for Sale. He's a big ball carrying 12 now. Is he quite as quick as he was? Probably not. Do you stick with him? Maybe. Are there any other options at 12? Well, we'll see when I get through a bit of a summary in the final video. Another tier 1 guy though is Gus Waugh. They're 9. If you like your 9s, cheeky, ordering players around, here's your man, and I'm putting him tier 1 because I could see him starting for England and not caring whatsoever. Some of the scrum halves that have started recently for England, I've said confidence, they look nervous. Van Port, Philippe Mitchell look very nervous. I don't think Gus Waugh or maybe a Harry Randall would. They'd just say, let's have it and get in there. Got a great all-round game. Will England go with him? It's a big question. Tier 2 players for Sale, we've got Ben Curry, who's probably not quite as good as his brother, which is harsh to say, but I think that is true. In the Six Nations, he struggled just a little bit, maybe not quite as physical, but he'd do a good job if he was selected, but a lot of competition, so I'm not sure he will. Bevan Rodd is a good player, been in and out of the England squad, in the World Cup squad, of course, injured at the moment, so tier 2. Rafi Quirk is the second choice behind Gus Waugh, and I think that's fair enough because Waugh is really, really good at organising the team. Quirk, very powerful, and I think when he got injured they said maybe he was just a bit too powerful, and he definitely has slimmed down a bit, trying to get his nuts and bolts right, but still incredibly quick. And Joe Carpenter's a good young 15 for sure, maybe a little bit shorter than other 15s, but he's definitely got a good break on him, and I think he's going to be a great player for Sale if he doesn't get into the England side. Tier 3 players for England who I don't think are getting into the side but are worth mentioning. Luke Cowan-Dickey's got all that experience for England and the Lions. He's been struggling for injuries, we know, so maybe that's holding him back. Johnny Hill, probably the biggest second row England have. Not sure he's quite an international top tier player, but he'd do a decent job. Big guy, like I said. Also second row wise, let me know what's happened to Alex Groves. Is he still been playing? Haven't seen a lot of him when he played for England under 20s. I thought this guy's going to be a second row for England very soon, but let me know what's happened to him, Sale fans. Nick Shonner, tight head prop, would do a good job at tight head, and England need tight heads. And Tom Roebuck is another big quick winger, a bit like Ollie Hassel-Collins. Is he quite quick enough? I'm not sure, but if you stuck him on an international wing, I think he'd be a real handful, so definitely worth watching. And finally, Saracens, a very powerful team, of course, with lots of experienced players. Not quite the depth they had in their salary cap breaking days, of course, but tier 1 players, we've got Ben Earl, who will be back for the Six Nations, England's best player in the World Cup. Would he play 7 or 8? I'm sure he'll play one of those. Elliot Daly had a good World Cup. No, we were always a bit afraid of Elliot Daly making a mistake, missing a tackle. He didn't do that in the World Cup. I thought he had a good World Cup, chased a lot of kicks, did the bits and pieces. Do you move on from him? I don't know. Do you keep him there, especially as a utility player playing 13 and back 3? Could be very useful. Owen Farrell is obviously unavailable, so he's not in this list. Jamie George, still England's best hooker, churning out the good performances, doesn't look like slowing down. Who's going to overtake him? Well, it's probably his teammate Theo Dan, who also is a tier 1 player, did really well in the World Cup, I thought. Maro Itoje had a really good World Cup. He's England's best second row by a long way. If you keep him fresh, he's the man. If he looks a bit leggy, sometimes he can look off the pace as well, but you've just got to manage his game time because he plays a lot of rugby. And Tom Willis, I think, is 100% an England player for next year, for sure. Does he play 6 or 8? I don't mind. Great attitude, hard as nails. He's a guy to get straight in there, so tier 1 for me. A couple of guys to look out for. Second rows, Hugh Tizard, Nick Ezekwe. There or thereabouts. Will they get in the Six Nations squad? I'm not sure. Are they quite big enough? Not sure. A guy to watch out for on potential is Ollie Hartley. A big, very big tall 12. Like him a lot. England need a successor for Manu Tuolangi. It's probably going to be too early for him this Six Nations, but give him another year. Next year, he could be in there and making his name as England's next 12, so tier 2 on potential for him. The tier 3 players, the 3 Alexes, would do a good job for England. I don't think they're going to get picked. Maybe the time has gone for Alex Goode. He had that tough choice. Does he go for 10 and try and compete with Owen Farrell? He probably wouldn't even get in Saracens for that, of course. Does he go 15, where he's maybe not quite quick enough? Tough call. Great player, though. There if you need him. Same with Alex Lazowski in the centres. And another Alex Lewington, when he left London Irish, looked like he was going to be playing for England. Hasn't quite happened for him, but another very quick, nippy winger. Maybe he'll get a call up, but maybe his time has gone. Anyway, guys, that's my full rundown of the whole Premiership, putting them in tiers 1, 2 and 3 for England potential. Do watch the first part if you haven't already. Let me know where you agree, where you disagree. All the comments below. Like and subscribe if you like these sorts of videos. Took a lot of watching and putting together this one, and I'll catch you next time.